name is Flack. I'm one of the writers here at the Retroist. I thought for my first video review, I'd review something retro that I have sitting right in my kitchen.
This is a custom-made 19-in-1 multi-Williams cabinet. And when I say custom, I mean a friend of mine made it for me. The actual cabinet you see here is a Williams cabinet that in a former life was actually a Robotron machine. My friend found the stencils for the side artwork online, printed them out, and applied the paint himself. The artwork you see on the control panel, the bezel, and the marquee were purchased online and then applied to the cabinet to give the machine a vintage yet authentic appearance. Inside the cabinet, the original board was replaced with a new multi-Williams 19-in-1 board. On the marquee you can see some of the titles that are available to play on this particular machine. You could get multi-Williams arcade boards for somewhere in the neighborhood of $100, and it comes with a JAMMA connector, which is a common connection used by most arcade machines. So if you have a working JAMMA cabinet with the right joystick and button configurations, you can just pull out your old JAMMA board and swap this one in. Obviously the name 19-in-1 comes from the fact that there are 19 games available to play on this particular machine. Now, back in the day, most arcade machines were limited to playing a single game. However, these new machines, sometimes referred to as multicades, can be programmed to play a bunch of classic games. This board is called a 19-in-1 and can play 19 different games. There are also 60-in-1 machines, 128-in-1 machines, and several other configurations to choose from. From the main menu, you can select any of the arcade games. This board is actually running an older build of MAME on pretty lean hardware. So while they are the original ROMs, those of you with a sharp eye or sharp ear may be able to tell the difference between some of these games and their arcade counterparts. You'll notice that this board is called a multi-Williams board because it's fairly Williams-centric, although there are some games from a few other manufacturers as well. So even though the emulation may not be 100% accurate as compared to the arcade versions of these games, the advantage here is that you're getting 19 games in one cabinet instead of having to purchase 19 cabinets, so this is a good way to save a lot of space and money. One question you may be wondering is, what's the advantage of a 19-in-1 cabinet over simply building a MAME machine? Now the advantage of a MAME cabinet is that it's going to be able to play a lot more games. A properly configured MAME cabinet could potentially play literally thousands of different games. But the advantage of a 19-in-1 board is that, especially if you already have a JAMMA-compatible machine, you can literally swap this 19-in-1 motherboard in a matter of seconds and be ready to start playing. On Craigslist or on eBay, you can typically find working JAMMA cabinets in the $100 to $200 range. So you could definitely buy one of those machines, install one of these boards, and you would be off and running. The only thing left at that point would be customizing the outside of the machine. One of my only complaints about the multi-Williams board is that it contains games both intended for 4-way joysticks as well as games designed for 8-way joysticks. A 4-way game would be one like Pac-Man, in which your character was designed to only move in 4 directions, up, down, left, and right. But a game like Robotron is an 8-way game in which players not only move up, down, left, and right, but also diagonal. Now the problem with playing a 4-way game with 8-way joysticks is that the game isn't programmed to understand what diagonal means, which often causes your character to simply freeze and not move. And the problem with playing an 8-way game with a 4-way joystick is, obviously, your movement is limited to only 4 directions. Now they do sell switchable joysticks, which can be physically reconfigured as either 4-way or 8-way sticks. So if you're planning on building one of these machines, I would highly recommend that you install a set of those. Overall, I give the multi-Williams board a 3 out of 5 jousters. The game selection is okay, but the emulation is off a little bit in spots. The machine doesn't save your high scores when it's powered off, and having to install switchable joysticks is an added expense.
This has been a Retroist production. Goodbye.